The other day I had a DEXA scan and I did that for three reasons. I wanted to know what my muscle was like on my body, my bone density, and where my fat was actually sitting. To get the scan done doesn't take too long, maybe a total of 30 minutes from getting the scan and then having a consultation. It cost me about $150, but it was all worth it. I got a report at the end, but I think everyone over 50 should actually go and get a DEXA scan. It's really informative and it gives you a great idea of where you're sitting with your body composition. So you'll see here that we have a body composition picture, which is not all that flattering, but that's okay. He could immediately see that I have scoliosis. You'll probably see that with the crooked spine in it. I've had that since I was young. And you'll see that the lean mass is the blue and the yellow around the edge of my body is my fat. Some of the stats are interesting. I mean, total body weight. I actually don't weigh myself. It's not something I do. Muscle weighs more than fat, and I just don't find it that helpful. But it's 66.5 kilograms. I am 157 centimeters tall, so I'm quite short. You'll see from the stats here that my total fat content is 29.5, which sounds completely freaky to me. So when I do a BMI, I actually come in as overweight. And as I've mentioned before, I'm not a real fan of BMI. I think it's a crude measurement. It's looking at your total weight and your height. But if you're a bodybuilder, you're going to come in as completely obese, which is not true at all. It's because muscle weighs so much more. It's obviously going to skew that. So with my fat composition, it has an index here that tells me I am in normal, but edging towards excess fat. Now, that's nothing that it's beyond what I thought, but what I'm really interested in, not so much as the fat, well, I mean, it is interesting, but how much of this is actual visceral fat. So remember, visceral fat is the fat that's sitting around your organs, very unhealthy. So that's one of your main things that you're going to want to know from your DEXA scan that a gym scan can't tell you. It can't tell you what's the type of fat. So you're either going to have subcutaneous fat, which is the fat that I have sitting around my body, or the visceral fat in my stomach. Now, my visceral fat that's come in is extremely low. It's come in at 118 grams. Now, if you think about a piece of chicken, that's tiny. That will be because I eat very well. I am a nutritionist. I don't really drink that much. So the other really important thing I want to know is how much muscle I have. As we get older, muscle is so important. Now, I wish that I had done this 2 years ago before I started weight training. Weight training was not something I did, or resistance training as we call it, but I have been doing it for a year and a half. My total body lean is 67.1%. But what I want to know is my lean mass against my height, because I can do a measurement. It's called your lean muscle mass, and it's coming in at 18.1. I was really surprised by that, actually. For me to have a muscle mass of 18.1 puts me nearly at 90% for my age. And if you have a look at this chart, even if I was 20 and 29, it puts me right in the 19th percent. You will see as you get older that starts to drop. I have only been weight training for the last year and a half, and I only go twice a week. It's achievable for all. It's quite incredible. Twice a week I do full body weights and resistance training. Nothing crazy. I also might do a little bit of resistance at home on other days, but again, nothing crazy. And this shows you just doing that 2 times a week has made a huge difference. I've seen YouTube channels where a lady who was in her 80s, she's an Irish lady, she's she wasn't being able to walk properly, she wasn't able to stand up properly. After a couple of months of resistance training, there was quite a dramatic difference, and she only did that twice a week. So don't think that age is a barrier at all. I'm stronger than I've ever been. So we already know now my visceral fat is really low. That's fantastic. The fat that generally I have in my body is subcutaneous, and that's not that harmful at all. It's protective in a way, and it keeps me warm. And then now we know that my muscle mass is up. I have a higher amount of muscle in my lower half than my upper half. That really doesn't surprise me at all. So now from this, I'm starting to really up the upper half as well because I want that as strong as my bottom half. So last thing I really was interested in was bone density. Like any females over 50, you will know people that are coming out to have osteoporosis. You're only really going to know that from a test or because you're starting to break some bones. My gym scan's not able to tell me anything like that. So having a DEXA scan allows you to see what sort of bone density you have. The bone density was actually really encouraging. He suggested that with that level of bone density, I wouldn't be expecting fractures till around 90. I don't want fractures even at 90, so I think I'll keep building on that. The thing with the DEXA scan too, you can see what bones are stronger than the others. No surprise to me, my legs have a higher density than my top half. My back is quite good, but my arms and my ribs still dense, but less so. So every couple of days I throw in some calcium because it's not going to be so easy to target my ribs with weight training. I've started to incorporate rowing into my weekly sessions so that at least there's some pull on the ribs. And again, as mentioned before, the muscles are on the top half. So incorporating more weight training on the top half is naturally going to build the bone density as well. They give you a T-score, which tells you what is your bone density compared to adults. And my bone density T-score puts me in the 99th percentile, which is fantastic. Then they give you a Z-score, which is in your same age population, and it takes me right up to 110. So that's great. What it was also able to give me is my basal metabolic rate, which is how much I use. So if I was to lie in bed all day, that's how much my body is required to use. And mine is 1,265, which is higher than the average for my age. It's not crazily higher, but it is higher because of my muscle. I would imagine that at one stage, my basal metabolic rate would have been lower than the average. And that would have been all those silly diets that I had taken to try and lose weight. Now, with the exercise that I do and my average day, we can tell that I'd probably use about 2,000 calories per day. So if I want to get rid of some of this excess fat that is sitting around my body, then I need to obviously reduce my calories. But it's different than what we're so used to. I need to reduce it only by a little bit. Now, if I reduce it to, remember it used to be like 1,200, I will start to lose muscle. And that is the last thing that I want to do. That is the thing that's going to cause my metabolism to go down. So I need to reduce it to about 1,700, 1,800. So because I don't particularly like calorie counting, I'd prefer to eat healthy and clean, do it that way, and exercise. Now, protein is really important. Protein is going to be important for my muscle and my bone, and I need about 120 grams per week. So if I want to raise my muscle, I actually have to keep it about the 2,000. So that feels a little bit contradictory when you want to lose some weight and keep your muscle up. So just stay clean, do your exercise. You've got to prioritize weight training because, again, remember, we're trying to build muscle and you want to increase your bone density. So do that resistance training. And then you do want movement. That will help you take the excess calories that you don't really want. So, having movement, walking each day is fine. It doesn't have to be a dramatic amount of walking. So the DEXA scan is really important for everyone over 50. As you can see, you'll be able to see, do you have visceral fats sitting in your stomach? And there are ways to get that lowered. Do you have really low muscle mass? And that's not what you want. You want to have that increase. And you want to know about your bone density because if you have an issue, you want to get that attention early. You do not want to have osteoporosis. Having this DEXA scan now, I'm not going to have another one until another year, but at least it'll give me some benchmarks to see how I'm tracking. Hopefully this has encouraged you to go and get one.